Okay, that was a lot. Preparing for this was a lot. Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by a friend of mine, Usibongisile Dubane. She may not be as big as I am. She may be even bigger, I don't know. We've got some mimosas, so cheers. We are going to be having conversations today. One of the pillars that I have for my channel, as maybe some of you would remember, is life, Christ, and passion. And I think that this friend of mine that is here with me today is one person who I think I can have rounded. Stop it! No. You're such a waste of time. No. One person who I can have a rounded conversation about life, including Christ, including things that we're passionate about, and it's always thought-provoking conversations. It's always inspiring conversations, and I feel like there's always something to take from it because we're able to look at life very wildly and go deep if we need to go deep. So what I wanted us to talk about today is 2020, guys. Is it cancelled or not? Like, it's not our year, because we were out there on the first and saying, Vision 2020, it's my year. Itimiasa Sonten was like, open doors, yes. Man, but doors are closed, even borders are closed. Jobs are closed. Yeah. Literally everything is closed. So what does that mean? And that's where we want to depart from today in having this conversation. What does that mean? Is 2020 cancelled? What is even happening? Is the world coming to an end? Are we being given a reset button? Did God just press pause? Or is it Mother Nature? What is your view of what is happening, and how does one place themselves in this situation that we've all been thrown in?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, right? Because there's so much happening. I think I would definitely, you can't really cancel a year because it's still happening. Yeah. So, and it must still exist, And it's also very important that even with all the seemingly negative things that are happening, that our speech isn't, right? Sure. So that we don't try to align our thoughts and how we feel with the chaos. True. Because then the chaos will happen here. And I think there's also an importance in distancing yourself and knowing that what's happening out there doesn't necessarily have to happen here as well. So with the crisis and everything that's happening, it's affected huge parts of our lives. But it's a world pandemic and dynamic, and I think we will all have issues when we start to personalize it. So that's where I would start. Don't personalize it. There's no pandemic happening in your life specifically, unless there is, and then you obviously you have to take the measures in your own personal capacity and self-isolate and so I really feel like if we started there, and then when you've separated yourself from everything that's happening, then I feel like then you can figure out what this means for you personally. Okay. So based on what you had thought this year was going to be, and if it is a reset, what is it that you think needs to be reset for you? If it is a pause, what is it that you need to re-look at differently? Not in the world terms, but not personally as Utobe. What does this mean?
What does it mean for me? I love what you said about the fact that just because the pandemic is happening, there's a crisis in the world and out there, it doesn't mean it must happen here. Yeah. It made me actually realize, Uguti, vele on a typical year, if there ever is a typical year,
Yeah.
there might not be a world or a global pandemic, but we've got our own live pandemics, guys, our own battles sometimes, and we don't necessarily use those on our day-to-day to speak for the rest of the year or to conclude about the rest of the year. We navigate our way around those situations and we figure it out. So meaning we don't over analyze what is happening outside so that it clouds even what is happening in our personal lives. But here's the trick, or here's the other flip side of it. You said that unless you are the pandemic is affecting you personally. So here I am, I've been personally affected by the pandemic. I've lost my job because of the pandemic. And so it makes it so much more real than a person just saying, well, it's happening out there, try not to internalize it. And I'm not minimizing what you say. There's value in it, but I'm trying to say, what if there has been some personal, it's closer to home. And I know you've touched on the fact that one must begin to ask themselves, what does it mean for me? How do you go about doing that? How do you declutter to say, yes, I've been personally affected, but how do you declutter so that you are able to begin then to unpack the meaning for myself as an individual or for anybody else who is perhaps a bit closer to the pandemic than some people might feel they are?
I mean, that one is a tricky question because that's largely based on your own belief system, right? And what your relationship with yourself and with your life is. There are people who believe in coincidence and happenstance, happen chance. And then there are people who believe that there is a reason behind everything, a bigger sign, purpose, and I happen to fall more on that side. So I'm always trying to figure out when something happens. I panic like everybody else, but I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to be getting from this? What is the lesson? Because I do believe that the process of life is not against us. I'm one of those people. I know I've had lots of conversations with people who are like, hey, life is just here, down and out. It wants to see you. I really don't believe that. And because I don't believe that, I've also been lucky to have that experience. And it doesn't mean that bad things don't happen. It just means that I try to ask myself, what if it's not bad? Like, what if this is the door or the opening to something larger? And then also, if it isn't, what does this mean? Where am I? What am I supposed to be getting from this? What am I supposed to be learning from it? And with a job specifically, it's such a tough one. Jobs, relationships, and we never want to lose anything.
True.
Even when that thing didn't make us happy.
True.
You can be stuck in a rut in a thing for years, and then it ends, and you're like, how could this happen to me? And all along, all you've been saying is how unhappy you are.
True.
And just like
That's
how
me.
miserable you are.
Yeah.
But then you seem to be sending out all these signals to the universe.
Stop, you're too loud.
Baba. But you don't want them to be caught. It's like, it's very confusing. But I think it's also because we are very... we love comfort, right? So it's batin suga in a frying pan, coming out of a fire, going to a frying pan type of situation. We love comfort, and we aren't honest enough with ourselves to say, was I really fulfilled now? Was I waking up with as much joy as I had in the beginning? Was I as grateful and as thankful as I was? Because I do believe those things do keep things closer to us. When you wake up and you're like, God, thank you so much for this. Thank you that I get to wake up and be with these people. And sometimes we get to a point where our jobs are not doing that for us. But then when it gets taken away, we struggle, and rightfully so, right? Because now you're thinking, what's the next step? Now what must I do? And then I have to then say, in that case, you trust the process that got you there. That if we go to Christian vibes, you know, and it's so cliche, but I genuinely believe that I don't believe there are people who God intentionally leaves destitute.
Just like cancel.
And
small must fall.
Yeah, no, guys, God is not Black Twitter. It's not like, and even at our worst, when we think we're at our worst. So if you believe the process is on your side, even things that seem like a detour,
True.
you will be able to, when you find inner peace, or when you return to yourself, you'll be able to still believe. You'll be able to still say, no, ngiyazi umhlengi wami uyaphila, ngiyazi ukuthi I'm one of those people. You will never hear me say, hawe ma, shuthi sekuphelile, ngeke uze uNkulunkulu azakuyeke kanjalo. You're not going to be without a job for, or even if, God forbid, whatever happens, but you'll be taken care of. You really, really will. And it's either you believe it or you don't, and I can't shove it down your throat.
True. You've said a lot. But one thing that I can draw from what you've said, which is so true, and I think sometimes as funu kuba honest with ourselves, like you said, I mean, I've lost my job, but I think the discomfort is more in the, okay, now I literally have to I'm faced with the question of what's next.
Yes.
Even though I wasn't happy there, I was not happy. I was not saying, oh God, thank you for this job every day. I was miserable, and I felt like there was more for me that I could do with my time and with my life. So here I am now. Kahle kahle, the universe has responded. Impushile into a decision that perhaps I wouldn't have been bold enough to take. Which one of the things that I've then been doing is saying, okay, so Lord, what next for me? Because I don't want to also automatically assume that the next step means I look for a job. Because I might find myself in the same situation. It might be all these things are speaking to an inner part of me that needs to be awakened into a new truth or a new reality about myself. But now, the question for me then becomes, once you've acknowledged, okay, perhaps I need to do things differently, which maybe might be the truth for a lot of people right now. You see people all trying to dabble into new things, starting YouTube channels, doing this, doing that, working from home situations. I think everybody's in that space. But once you are in that space, how do you then sort of center yourself in not being all over, in not now trying, I don't want to be lost in everything. I could be lost in so many things, YouTube channel, which I'm not saying I'm lost by doing this, but I could overly focus on that because it's perhaps my first preconceived idea of, okay, this is what's next for me, which might mean I'm not actually moving towards where I need to be. Do you believe that in as much as also life works together for us, that I need to sort of naturally land up or be led into where I need to be? Or do you think there's a big part that I need to play towards me getting there? So if it is that now I'm going to focus on YouTube, but maybe I need to actually go out there and do something else. Maybe I need to be independent. Maybe there's other passions that I've sort of just squashed and neglected that I need to be touching. How do I, whilst in the midst of trying to navigate all these things, but still hear the voice, whether it's the voice of God or the universe or the energy, and allow it to channel me, to focus me to exactly where I need to be? Or do you believe that I will always be where I need to be despite of what I'm doing?
First, you breathe. Just breathe. Right? And you breathe and you be here now. Because the issue is, what if like and also none of it is here. right? It's all in the unknown. It's all things you can't control.
True.
So you breathe and you trust, right? But all you have and all you can do is what you know now, is what you have now. You can't read into the future. But also, I really think the big thing that we struggle with is this concept, and you and I luckily are reading the same book, which is Conversations with God, which also touches on this idea that life is a school of life, which gives off the idea that you can either fail or pass.
True.
Get that out of your head, that there is a specific route that you will take, and if you take that one or you don't take this one, yes,
it's dead end.
Life gives us ample chances to reach our destiny and for our destiny to find us. And you look at the simple things in life, how you and I are sitting here and our bodies are alive and I can move my hands. I don't know how. My brain is sending signals to my hands to move. Your heart is pumping blood. There are cells. You have no hand in that. And we are in partnership with life. So it's a give and take, but you don't all have to do it yourself.
True.
And this is not the perfect answer, but it is just to say that breathe first, relax. What has been sustaining you for as long as it has will do so. And there's no wrong way. There's no wrong path, because to be honest, if you look at your life and what many others would look at your life and perceive as, hey, utobega, hey, wa mo, shala. Say your daughter, for example, who has been your greatest learning curve. And so that's it wasn't in your plan. You thought, no, I'm going to get married and then I'm going to, and then the detours happen. So I always speak about, I tell you a lot about my own personal experience, and that's all I can speak from, right? But that's what has taught me, Uti, trust, man, and then let that faith, so when it finds you and you feel like, okay, I feel like this is what I want to do. Life will give you omens, on the way. You're not alone in the process. You'll have a random conversation with somebody. And you'll see a random status and it will lead you. So believe that, but also be present. Be conscious as to what's happening around you. What are the signs and insignias that life is giving you to usher you in the direction you need to go to? So it's good to say, okay, so what now? And then you're on the alert because you're hungry now. And then you do it and say you do this for a month or so. If after that you feel like don't then look back and say, I made a mistake. No, everything has its purpose. And there's so much to learn and remember about ourselves. And also remember the purpose of life is to discover who we are, right? To tap into, because we've come into this earth realm as spiritual beings. And now we're like, our bodies and our spirits, like, okay, what more can I do? So be enthusiastic about life, be inquisitive, and be excited to say, I wonder what my next chapter is going to be like. And then say, and I trust to the universe, I trust uNkulunkulu ukuthi you will put all the things. I really don't believe and you're not being honest with yourself if you say when what they did and you are on your own.
Yo, guys.
Even somebody living on the street, you wake up, you don't know where your next meal is gonna come from. Randomly somebody comes that's part of the process. So but then you also need to know the universe and God works with the level of your faith.
True.
So that's where.
You just reminded me of a conversation I once had in 2010. I was in Matric with a friend of mine. She's big now. She's famous, Wendy, the Black Wendy on YouTube. She had been on this camp and she had met some amazing I think it was a leadership camp, some guy, and that guy said to her as advice, and it took her time because the reason why we were talking about it is she had just begun to understood what that guy meant with the advice. And it's coming back to me now and it's connecting with what you're saying. That guy said, you know, in life, whatever you do, just be there.
Yes.
Just be there.
Yes.
Meaning it's possible sometimes to just want to be too much out there that we forget to that there's no perfect stage where the curtain gets drawn and everybody's sitting there.
Now
you can come out. It's happening, and the best you can do is to be present in a way that you can at that particular time, but being there fully, emotionally, physically, and not looking too much out there, like you were saying earlier.
Because life is what happens while we're making plans.
Yeah, guys. Anaba bangana banje kuneshow. Ninabo, take, please. I dare you to tag.